Okay, Shai, please explain to all of us what Día de los Muertos is for those who may not be familiar with it.
Okay, so Día de los Muertos is the Day of the Dead, and it is a celebration in Latin America, predominantly Mexico, which date back to the Aztec times, and it is a way in which to celebrate people who have passed. So it falls around Halloween, and sometimes people get that mixed up because there's a very famous parade that happens down south with the Catrinas, where people dress up in the skull makeup, and people know that, and because it's so close to Halloween, they think it's the same, but it is completely different. We are celebrating the lives of those people who we've lost.
And I love that, that we should be able to do that, right? So let's talk about how we can jump in and contribute without being like culturally appropriating, things that we shouldn't be.
Right. So, I'm an ethnic minority. I married into a different ethnic minority family, so I'm very sensitive to this. But I think the biggest tip is understanding that cultural appropriation means I'm taking something from that culture and I'm benefiting from it without that culture also benefiting from it. So, for example, did I wear something as a costume rather than understanding that is a traditional dress? That's appropriation. But what we're doing here is we are celebrating the holiday as the holiday is meant to be celebrated. We are paying homage to it. So this is absolutely, celebratory and okay.
Okay, and you're probably making sure that you actually buy from vendors and what have you and shopkeepers that are from the culture, right?
Absolutely. So this is an amazing opportunity to do that. Give back to that community, So we're going to give back to the Latin community. We're going to give back in ways in which we're, buying their artisan crafts or using their foods and whatnot. So this is definitely a way to do that.
This looks absolutely stunning. But before we even get to this, you usually celebrate with your husband, Ricky, and his family. Ricky, we love. He is here with us in the audience today. So Ricky, what is your favorite part of the holiday?
So listen, guys, the favorite part of this is keep the tradition alive, to celebrate and also be with family. Remember all people that you have lost and make them know that they're still in your heart.
Absolutely. And I'll always remember a funeral that I was at with my cousin who had passed away. And the priest at the time had said, talk about the folks who have passed on. Like, talk about them. We want to keep them alive. We want to keep them in our memory. And it's often, a tough thing because people don't know. Do we talk about it? Talk about them, celebrate them. Absolutely.
Well, this is the amazing thing about this. I mean, in kind of westernized culture, we see death as only the negative part of the losing the person. But this is really looking at the aspect of not the death. It's really celebrating the life before the death.
Absolutely. And I mean, look at this beautiful tablescape. Like, this is a celebration, which I love. Let's talk about the decor you have mixed into here.
Yes. So, okay, so here's the thing with Latin American decor and culture. If you're afraid of color, this is not for you.
You're going to have to leave.
Right. But this is an opportunity to really celebrate color and enjoy it. We see a lot of vibrant color. But the other thing to kind of keep in mind also is you want to be able to bring in, like we were saying, kind of artisan finds. So this is an opportunity to maybe go to Etsy rather than going to, I don't know, one of the big box stores. And being able to give back to those communities. But we can also understand that, of course, this is very specific. So I want to be able to save a little bit of money also. So we did go to our friends at HomeSense, and we were able to find pieces like this. So this is earthenware. This looks like the clay that we're seeing in the artisan pieces, but of course it's at a budget point where it's something I can actually then use throughout the year because it's pretty much, it's a neutral, and then incorporate it into my tablescape should I want to do this once a year.
Yeah, one thing you don't want to do is go buy a whole new set of dishes just for one day. So you want things you're going to use all the time.
You got it.
Did we talk about these yet, or do you want to talk about them later? Because they're so good.
No, so the sugar skull.
They're so good.
The sugar skull is probably the most well-known motif when it comes to Day of the Dead, and when it comes to kind of the idea of what Day of the Dead celebrates. Now, these in particular, all 6 of them, were actually sent up to me by my mother-in-law, who she's now retired, and her pottery class made them.
She's so amazing.
So these are beautiful, but what this really is it's kind of the juxtaposition of the fact that it's the skull, so it's commemorating the death, but the way that they make them so colorful and vibrant is celebrating the life in it.
Yeah, once again, it's sort of like a happy thing, a celebratory thing.
Exactly.
I noticed you also have pictures at each plate, so let's talk about those.
Yeah, so, one of my absolute favorite things about the holiday, and Ricky was touching on that, is the way in which to celebrate those people who we've lost. And one of the traditions that our family down in Mexico has is when we invite people over, we ask them to send us a picture of somebody who might have passed that year or somebody that they want to celebrate that year. And rather than do a place card with the name of a person, we take that person and we put their picture into a frame next to where we want that person to sit.
Beautiful.
So what this does is it brings that person into the into the ceremony, into the kind of the evening, but also I think it's a great icebreaker for if you have people that maybe it's the first time there. Who do you have over there, T?
I have my Aunt Gloria. Oh, I want you to see her because she's super stylish.
She is.
This was the aunt, you know how everybody has sort of the aunt that's almost like a secondary mom? She's actually my mom's best friend and was actually my godmother and not my aunt, but she's my Aunt Gloria. And she is a fellow Capricorn, incredibly driven, always supported all of my dreams. I would literally tell her things I didn't necessarily tell my parents because it would be things that I wanted to risk, and she'd say, go for it, you do it, girl. She would cut me checks when I was in university. She'd be like, keep the dream alive, keep doing your thing, and she would find ways to literally and figuratively support me in any possible way when it came to my dreams and ambitions. So she, like, this picture's literally in my wallet. I talk to her every week.
I love it.
She's fantastic. So I can talk about this lady till I'm blue in the face, and I love the fact that there would be a day dedicated to that.
That's just it. So you see what we've done right now. We've now spoken about her.
And
We've
honored her.
And honored her and remembered her in a way that's fun.
Who's your loved one?
So I have three here. So we have abuelita, grandmother, and then tío, which is uncle. Each has their own personal story. But this is a way in which to, again, really bring those people. And remember, it's that one time of year when, in Mexico or in Latin America, you'll actually see the families go down to the cemeteries and actually spend the day with the what we call ofrenda, or the altars at the actual cemetery, and spend the day with their loved ones. And I think it's such a cool thing because it takes away that negative connotation that we only have when it comes to somebody who's passed.
Anything else that you personalized here that you want to mention? Because I just want to mention the tamales, right?
Well, yes, please. So absolutely, Ricky made those, by the way.
Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you, Ricky. So yeah, so again, this is an opportunity to maybe find a local, a local chef, a local vendor that makes them, that is indigenous or native. And of course, I do want to talk about the candles. Now, the candles are an important one. The candles are symbolizing the way in which the soul is being, or we're lighting the way for the soul to come home to us, to spend time with us.
Thank you, Shai. That was so